Today on Bulldog Insider, we're talking about the coronavirus, or COVID-19. On Thursday, Fresno State Athletics released the following statement. Fresno State Athletics, in accordance with the Mountain West Conference Board of Directors, announced on Thursday all spring competitions will be suspended indefinitely due to the outbreak of COVID-19. Fresno State Athletics will continue to evaluate and assess the impact of COVID-19 in consultation with local health officials and will continue to follow federal, state, and CSU system guidelines. The suspension of spring practices and team training activities will continue to be evaluated moving forward. And this from Director of Athletics Terry Toomey, quote, "The health and safety of our student athletes, staff, and campus community are the #1 priority during this unprecedented time. While we understand the uncertainty that many of our student athletes, staff, and community members may be experiencing, Fresno State Athletics is committed to providing a safe environment that helps ensure the well-being of our campus community. We will continue to work alongside our campus leadership and public health officials to determine the best course of action as we move forward." Andrew Marden here alongside Scott Bemis. The coronavirus is worldwide. It's officially a pandemic in our country. There have been 3,100 confirmed cases in 49 states, according to the New York Times. Major sporting events have been shut down. Schools have been closed. Governor Newsom today called for the same from bars and wineries. Social distancing has been recommended. Scott, nobody's happy that there won't be an NCAA tournament, and today was supposed to be Selection Sunday. There are no NBA games. The Masters was postponed, but you and I both agree all of this was the right call.
Boy, what a week, right? What a week for the world, for our country, and for sports fans, right? You know, it's traditionally one of the best sporting weeks of the year. You got conference tournaments going on. You're leading up to the NCAA tournament, and then you have a global health pandemic that cancels it all. Yeah, I think it is the right move because caution at this point in time, I think an overabundance of caution is better than going the other way, right? We still don't know where we're going with this, but I think being cautious right now with regards to it, I think is the right move. There may be some little details that maybe things could have been done maybe a little bit differently, maybe postponing some things as opposed to outright canceling them and then kind of leaving you the right to cancel maybe at a later date. But I can't really argue with any of the decisions that have been made, at least from what all the global health officials are saying, right?
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. And as of the last 20 minutes, the CDC recommends that any gathering of more than 50 people be just limited. Don't do that for at least the next 8 weeks. Let's bring this back to Fresno State, and we'll get into specifics about how the individual sports are affected in a bit. In general, if you're a coach or a student athlete at Fresno State, what are you doing right now?
Well, we're going to hear from Linda Garza a little bit later in this show, but I don't know what you're doing, to be honest with you. I think a lot of the student athletes are probably, being with their families at this point in time. I guess there still is the possibility, perhaps, that maybe they would play some spring sports competitions. The championships have obviously been canceled, but they did leave open the possibility, at least, of those sports being played on some basis, depending on where we go with this. But I'm not sure what they're doing at this point. My guess is they're trying to, stay in shape as best they can, probably touch base with their family and their friends, make sure everybody's okay, and trying to kind of come to grips, I guess, with the disappointment of not having a season to play. But we know athletes are creatures of routine, right? Especially college-level athletes. I mean, they've been playing that sport their entire lives, so I'm assuming that they're probably still trying to stay in some sort of routine.
Major League Baseball has recommended, and I was in Arizona a couple of weeks ago for spring training. I got there just before the clubhouses were closed when this coronavirus outbreak really got started. Major League Baseball recommended that everybody either go home, go back to their cities where they play for that particular team, or they stay in Arizona at the spring training facility. But since then, a New York Yankees minor league player has actually tested positive for coronavirus, so now I think everyone has scattered. What do you do if you're a recruit? Because it's a dead period from now until April 15th. That means no on-campus visits, no off-campus travel for coaches. That has to be frustrating for all parties involved.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And I don't think anybody really knows at this point because this is just kind of new territory for everybody. I mean, everything's been canceled, at this point, been pretty much shut down. So it's really kind of a wait and see approach. I mean, I think if you're a recruit, maybe you continue to if you're trying to get your name out there as far as being recruited, you can still continue to correspond, obviously, with different schools and, over the phone or, in text or, as NCAA rules allow. And if you're coaches, maybe you're doing the same thing, I'm sure. I'm sure you're trying to at least touch base with people as best you can without having person-to-person contact at this point, as NCAA rules allow, of course.
So nobody knows exactly when this will end, but here is some good news. The NCAA is planning on extending the eligibility of spring sports athletes to make up for their lost year. Details are still being worked out. You really have to figure out scholarship limits, roster sizes, things like that. Again, you and I both agree this is the right call.
Yeah, let's hope the NCAA can figure out a plan in this department that makes sense. They've said the right things so far, because if you are a spring sports athlete and a winter sports athlete as well, a wrestler or maybe a basketball player who is going to have a chance to compete for your conference tournament title or the NCAA tournament title, you are missing out on something that makes the experience of playing college athletics great, and that's a chance to compete for a championship. And I really hope that the NCAA figures a way to give every athlete, another year of eligibility. Now, there's a whole bunch of unintended consequences that come along with that. How do you figure out, the scholarship limits? And if you bring maybe the seniors back who are still on scholarship, how does that work for overall scholarship limits? How does the school pay for it if there are more scholarships involved? So there's some other things that need to be worked out, but I think giving the athletes the option of coming back is the right thing to do.
Yeah, you talk about paying for it. There definitely is some lost revenue during all of this. On Thursday afternoon, Josh Hokett tweeted about not being able to wrestle at the NCAA championships next week. I've been wrestling since I was 4, and the NCAA tournament was going to be my last time ever competing in the sport. And now this is how it all ends. Hokett sent out a few more tweets trying to get all the qualifiers at heavyweight to meet up somewhere and have their own tournament. Josh Hokett was an All-American last season. He had a great chance to be one again this season. Scott, Fresno State was about to send 5 wrestlers to the NCAA championships. We'll put that information on the screen for everyone, for a sport that the university just brought back a few years ago. It goes without saying how frustrating it is these athletes won't be competing in Minneapolis.
Yeah, Josh Hokett, he's the ultimate competitor, so I wasn't in the least bit surprised that he actually sent out a tweet saying, hey, all the other heavyweight qualifiers out there, let's get together for our own tournament somewhere. Hey, host it in Clovis somewhere, right? Or host it at the Hokett home. That would be fun. We need something to cover, right? Between now and then. But I think it's just disappointing for all athletes, but especially athletes who've earned that kind of right, to compete for a national championship. The wrestling championships were going to be kind of unique this year because they were being held at U.S. Bank Stadium, I believe, in Minneapolis.
Yep. Which just hosted a Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Yeah, the Vikings facility. And imagine that, getting the opportunity as a college athlete to go compete on that stage, and now that's taken away from you. Now, we can only hope that maybe Josh and the rest of the wrestlers will get another year of eligibility back and have another opportunity to compete for a national title.
Well, they are winter sports athletes. We still don't know what's happening with the winter sports, especially basketball. The Fresno State men are not impacted by the coronavirus because their season was already over, ending in Las Vegas at the Mountain West tournament. But the Bulldog women, we're going to find out tomorrow where they'd be playing in the postseason. Selection Monday. The assumption is the WNIT. Here's a tweet from head coach Jamie White the other day. Days like today remind me that life's a journey. All those special moments along the way are important, and the people we share it with change our lives. A couple of hashtags, proud coach and special year. The Bulldogs did have a special year. They won the Mountain West regular season championship. Theoretically, Scott, they can do it again next season since all 5 starters are back, but there's no guarantee. How many emotions do you think the Bulldog women have gone through in the last few days?
Well, first off, they had the gripping emotion, right, of that heartbreaking loss in the Mountain West championship game to Boise State. But my guess is a few days removed from that, they started to focus on what might be next. And as you mentioned, the odds were pretty long that they would get an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament. But you never know. Maybe something weird might have happened, and they could have snuck into that field of 64. But as the regular season Mountain West champion, they were guaranteed a spot in the WNIT, which meant they likely were going to get to play, another game or two at the St. Mark Center as well, because you got to imagine that they would be one of the higher seeds in that WNIT. So yes, the emotions are probably. I can't even imagine what the emotions are. I mean, just as a sports fan, not getting an opportunity to watch the NCAA tournament My emotions were a little bit rattled, on Thursday. And having the opportunity to play in a tournament, whether it's the NCAA tournament or the WNIT, I can't imagine what you're feeling like, because that's what you work towards all year long, is an opportunity like that. And so, a little bit of a bummer that we won't be able to get to see, the Bulldog women play any more basketball this year, because that team was so much fun to watch, and got a feeling they could have done some damage in that WNIT.
So that's a season that was getting to its, to its apex almost, and Bulldog football spring practice was supposed to start tomorrow. That's not happening anymore. All organized football activities have been suspended until at least March 29th. That includes Pro Day, which was scheduled for Tuesday. If the coronavirus allows there to be spring football at all, in 20 seconds or less, Scott, how do you think a later start date affects a team with a new head coach?
I think it affects a team more so with a new head coach than a team that already has a coach and a coaching staff that's been there for several years. Kalen DeBoer and that whole group of assistants, they had a lot of work to do to kind of install their system, to get their themes, their rules, their mottos, integrated with the Bulldog football team. So I think it might hurt Fresno State a little bit more than another school that has an established coaching staff.
I agree. We'll be right back.